Generating a high income can actually create a false sense of security. And a lot of people don't talk about this, but being in that higher income bracket can actually mask greater financial risk. It's much different when you have a little margin in your life. Hi, I'm Jonna. I'm a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and mom who built long-term wealth through real estate, all while my husband and I balance full careers and family life. If you're earning a good income, saving for retirement, and doing all the right things, but still feel like your money isn't creating the freedom or security you want, and you want a great life, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Life. I'm Jonna Weber. Let's get started. Today we're covering kind of a thesis statement, and that is the statement and the premise that high income does not equate to financial independence, at least not automatically. And we're going to unpack 3 points related to this today. You know, if you are blessed and you're listening or watching this and you're in a position to be making a good or maybe even great income, but you just don't feel financially secure if something were to happen, and certainly for your later years, this episode is for you. Because I think one of the biggest misconceptions high income professionals have is believing that a strong income automatically equates to financial independence down the line, and it just doesn't. And I think deep down, a lot of people realize that, but they're hiding that deep inside because they don't want to think about it. And frankly, they're just too busy. So I'm going to walk you through 3 ideas that explains why this happens and good news, how to start thinking about it differently. So here's what we'll cover. First, why high income can actually create a false sense of security. 2, why retirement isn't just about net worth, it's about cash flow. And 3, why 1 or 2 intentional real estate decisions can matter more than decades of savings. So if you've ever wondered, why doesn't this feel like enough yet? Stay with me. Let's dig into point number 1, and that is the idea that generating a high income can actually create a false sense of security. And a lot of people don't talk about this, but being in that higher income bracket can actually mask greater financial risk. It's much different when you have a little margin in your life. I've been there, and it's so easy to fall into that trap. So let me explain if you're confused. When you earn well, you can cover mistakes. You can be looser with your budget. You're not necessarily tracking every coffee purchase or every Netflix subscription. You're saving a little bit. You're putting money in your 401k or your IRAs. You can be a little looser with your money decisions, and you can weather volatility a little bit better. So things feel stable. But this is real talk here. If your lifestyle, your family, and your future all depend on your income continuing at the same pace, you are still exposed. A couple of scenarios come to mind that are actual real world examples that have happened in my life. The first one is a gentleman, a friend that I will call Jim. And Jim was a really healthy guy in his 40s, 2 great kids, beautiful wife, and a very high-level sales position. He was on a hike and all of a sudden had a stroke of sorts within his back and became instantly paralyzed and at risk for a myriad of conditions, as you might imagine. He could no longer maintain the sales position that he had relied on as the sole income earner of his family. The second scenario I encountered just very recently, a successful airline pilot, early 50s, was doing great and upwardly mobile in his career and got a very scary cancer diagnosis and had to immediately be released from his position to go out of state to seek emergency medical treatment for a number of months. Now, those guys were both high income earners, but do you think that their families relied on their careers? Yes. And so these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves so that we can proactively get ourselves in a position where we've got that financial peace, which there's nothing that replaces that, guys. It's an incredible feeling. So take a second. I'd encourage you to just ask yourself this question. If I stopped working for a year, what would actually support my life? This isn't a fear-based question. It's a clarity-based one. This isn't a discipline problem. It's not a motivation problem. And it's definitely not an intelligent problem. I know you're extremely intelligent. It's a structural one. Hey friends, are you struggling to figure out what type of investing path is right for you and what fits your personality type? Fun news, I've got a quiz set up just for this purpose. Take 60 seconds and head over to jonnaweber.com/investor quiz. Fill out your profile and we'll figure out what type of investing is right for you. Let's dive into point number 2, and that is the idea that retirement is truly about cash flow. It's not just about creating a net worth. And I'm using the retirement term very loosely. It could be retiring at a traditional age after so many years of service, but it could also mean a forced retirement due to a medical disability like we talked about earlier, or it could be something where you want to retire because all of a sudden that situation that was so exciting and positive at first in your career all of a sudden is taking a turn and you're facing the situation that you want to leave what you're doing and just have options. And the thing is, most traditional retirement and financial advice focuses on net worth at retirement. And it also focuses on reaching a certain age before you withdraw those funds. You want options. There's a lot of talk about account balances, future projections, big numbers on paper. And I'm not anti-stock market, and we definitely have traditional retirement accounts in my household as well. So it's all about creating more options for your life. Really what we're talking about here is cash flow. And when you stop working, you don't stop living. You still have those resources that you need to pour money into, right? You'll still need housing. You still have expenses. You want options, flexibility, and freedom. So the real question isn't necessarily how big is my portfolio, it's what replaces my income. And that's where real estate really becomes interesting, not as a hustle or a trend, but as a tool that produces income, creates leverage that you can use responsibly, and grows over long periods of time. Real estate works slowly, and that's exactly why it works. And let's move on to point number 3. And that's the idea that 1 or 2 decisions made strategically can change everything. This is the part I really want you to hear. You don't need 20 properties. You don't need to quit your job and start a real estate investing business. And you don't need to rush. For many high-income professionals, just 1 or 2 strategic real estate decisions can completely change the trajectory of a retirement amount. The mistake isn't starting late. The mistake is starting without clarity or starting with the wrong strategy because someone told you just to take action. Clarity always comes before momentum. In the next episode, we're going to talk about why so many highly capable, high-income professionals never take action to actually get started in real estate, even though they want to and they know it could help. And here's the spoiler. It's not fear and it's not laziness. I'll see you on the next episode. If you liked this episode, make sure and go back and listen to some past ones, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Investing for Life. If today's episode brought you clarity or encouragement, would you please follow the show, leave a quick review, or even better, share it with a friend who's ready to start building their future. And if you're serious about creating lasting wealth and freedom, let's connect. You can find me at jonnaweber.com. I can't wait to help you take your next step toward the life you deserve. Go and grow, and we'll see you on the next episode.